Front and back 1 and 2. Like this 1 and this 2. Jalen? Where's Jalen? Alright. Your warm up. Number 1. Be very specific. Very precise. Jonathan? Where's Jonathan? Caleb? How do you name that line? You put what? What kind of line over top of it? A regular line. What's regular? All lines are straight. Don't say a straight line. You just did that? Or did you put arrows? Alright. Does everybody agree with Kayla? Alicia? Is there another way to name that line? Olivia? Caitlin? Where's Caitlin? Caitlin, is there another way to name that line?
No.
No. Caitlin says no. Do we all agree with Caitlin?
Yes.
Does anybody disagree with Caitlin? And they think there's another way to name this line?
No.
Anybody?
I think there is no point.
Yes, you can raise your hand because then I'm going to say how. Sir? Let me take a step back. Joseph, where's Joseph? Who's Joseph?
I like how you guys all look at me.
Well, then raise your hand.
I didn't raise my Joseph.
Joseph, hold on. Easy question. Read this to me. That says AB. Thank you. They have this up there. That means something. This means line segment, and then the letters AB. Now I told you that I give you shortcuts. These are shortcuts. These are the notations for line segment AB. But am I allowed to write line segment AB? Don't all three of these say the same exact thing? So this is another way to name that line segment.
That was a tricky question.
Honestly, it wasn't tricky. It clearly says line segment right there.
It's always named the line. Not the line segment.
Test question.
Yeah.
Your worksheet that I just graded, that most of you, I don't like some of your answers. This bottom part here, test questions. Those of you that left it blank. Number 16, the only thing that's missing is in a plane. In a plane, that's the only thing that's missing. No. I graded on completion. 17, in a plane. In space is 3-dimensional. Some people put in space. The back, if you got a decimal on the back, you're wrong. And you're probably wrong because of the setup. If you text me, I will correct you on your setup, unless I'm wrong, and then I'll correct you again and say you were right the first time. True story, it happened yesterday.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so
My phone is stupid, and what's online, I can't text the short number because it says service access denied. So do you have a longer number that people usually give me for the reminders? Like there's like a longer.
I think mine's a homework.
No, it's always 8101010.
Yeah, but like there's like a second number.
I don't know. I'll have to look at it.
I can't find the homework on the Academy. I didn't even.
I'll show you that in a second. Let's do this. Alright, question 2. Question 2 is going to be fun for me because it's not fun for you. Let's go with Mason. Mason, what's up, buddy? Mason, number 2. You got this. You're going to impress me. Come on.
I didn't even do nothing.
Oh, that doesn't impress me.
I didn't know how to do it.
What do you mean you know how to do it? Shh. Mason, let's back it up then. Mason, what's that a picture of? An angle. Mason, have we talked about angles at all in this classroom?
Yeah.
Okay. How many times?
A
A couple, meaning once. Good. So I only taught you one thing about angles so far, Mason. What was that? I'll give you a hint. Your hand's on it. It's called your notes.
A slope.
Maybe turn back a page.
A postulate.
What is that postulate? Turn back a page. We'll get there.
Addition postulate.
What kind of addition postulate?
Angle addition.
There you go. Angle addition postulate. Mason, you impressed me. Thank you, Mason. Before I move on to the next person, Mason, can you give it a shot now?
I would like to pass it on to someone.
Okay, we'll pass it on. For now, you just helped other people out because they didn't know, and unfortunately, we're staying in your group, Mason. Brandon, what's going on? You got the same amount of work as Mason, don't you? So Mason told us we have to use the angle addition postulate because that's the only thing I've taught you about angles so far. So can you use the angle addition postulate, which is aka what we did on that worksheet? Can you use that here?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me how?
Bring out 2x and x.
By what?
By using 2x and x.
Okay, well how am I going to use them? Oh, we're getting somewhere. We're going to add them. So 2x plus x, and that is going to equal what? Why? How do you know? I can't hear him. He's all the way back in the room.
Because the square, that makes it 90 degrees.
Perfect. This is notation, guys. That's notation that I did not tell you. That's notation that you should already know. The square, the box, means 90 degrees. The whole angle is 90 degrees. ABC, the big angle, is 90 degrees. That means with the angle addition postulate, the sum of the parts, 2x and x, has to equal 90 degrees. Combine like terms. Divide by 3. X equals 30. Are you done? No, because they want ABM. They want this one. So you're going to multiply it by 2. 2 times 30. I don't know what to tell you. Alright, real quick before we move on. You guys need to to turn back to page 8, and that is the bottom part of your notes.
I didn't get the last one. Can you page up a little?
Slope intercept form of a line.
No, the other way.
Down.
Oh, the one that we didn't.
You should have that.
I don't. I only got positive, negative, zero. The class ended when.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
Positive,
I need
negative.
to know what positive and negative. Yeah, class ended right. Yeah, what's next? There we go.
Thank you.
What? Go over there, go over here, go back there. Make sure you are signed up for Khan Academy. The homework is up there now. I will be assigning more homework. It is due the day of the test, which is the 14th. But I'm going to keep assigning it. All of them are going to be due the same day, which is the 14th. So don't wait until the 14th to all of a sudden do 15 homework assignments. Ain't gonna work. Your test dates will remain on the board, and they are always subject to change whenever I feel like it. Early or late? Early or late, don't matter. Hey. Huh?
In the way. The board.
That says positive, that says negative.
Yes, sir. I just want to know how far from the top you are. Okay.
Yes. Yes, make sure you sign up. It's on YouTube. Alright, your new note. I'm sorry. Your next section is going to be the worksheet. I am going to do the first 2 problems on this worksheet. There's a total of 6. So that means after I do the first 2, how many do you have? Look at how good at math you are. Yes.
No, it's
on the board. No wonder I was confused the whole time. Are we still putting this in our book? They were really bad. What if it's not even right?
No.
Alright, this worksheet. You are going to be asked to graph the points and then answer the questions that are on the right. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes right now to plot the points and draw the line just for number 1. That's all I want to see is number 1. Jason, put your headphones in your bag. Where's your bag?
I left everything.
Put them on your lap.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Plot the points, draw the line.
Is it input X and output Y?
Yes.
So where we're putting the soap. Soap is. Let me start. Oh, the 2 points, right?
You guys.
Huh?
The 2 points.
There's 5 points.
I know, but you want to do the 2 points.
I want you to do all 5 of them.
Okay, can I have a ruler?
I don't have a ruler. Use your book.
I'm like, I got this.
Okay. I don't know what that has to do with drawing a straight line, but okay.
Because we run fast.
Again, I don't know why that has to do with drawing a straight line. Okay. Again.
I'm straight.
You're special, that's what you're.
Just trying to find out why I came out deep first.
I need a ruler.
Alright, your graph should look like that.
All the way along like that.
I got that.
The lines don't stop, guys. They go forever. Now, to answer the questions on the right, the rate of change is just your slope. You can find your slope by doing the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But why would you do that? You have a graph and you can count. Slope is rise over run, so you're going to go from one point to the other. And if I'm going up, that's positive 2. If I'm going to the right, that's a positive 1. So my slope is 2 over 1, which is not 3, which is just 2. If you have the graph, you can count. If you count from any 2 points, you will get the same slope. Now, here comes the difficult question. Lexi, where's Lexi? Lexi, how do I know where my X and Y intercepts are? Yes. How do I find them? Well, how do I find my X-intercept? That's the X-axis. The X-axis goes this way. How do I find the X-intercept?
The line on the X, well, the point on the X.
Natalie, where's Natalie? Who's Natalie? Natalie, how do I find it?
Please, don't pick on Jason.
Odalis? No. How do I find the X and Y intercept? I'll give you a hint, guys. It's in the title. It's the X-intercept and the Y-intercept. Where's Tyler? Tyler, how do you find the X and Y intercept?
Where the Y intercepts?
Perfect.
Thank you.
It's where your graph intercepts that axis. So my X-intercept is where my graph is crossing the X-axis. Can you guarantee me what point that is?
No.
So then we can't use it yet. Can you guarantee me what the Y-intercept is?
Yeah.
What is it? So your Caleb?
Yes, sir.
Shut up.
That wasn't me talking.
It definitely was when I said your name, but thank you. Alright. your X and Y intercept, your X-intercept is when your Y is 0, your Y-intercept is when your X is 0. So if in the table you have a 0, this gives you my Y-intercept. Again, I don't have a 0 in the Y, so I don't know my X-intercept yet. I will be able to find it. Your X-intercept is when your Y is 0. Your Y-intercept is when your X is 0. So the last one is the equation of the line. The equation of the line has to look in slope-intercept form, so y equals mx plus b. Do I have my slope?
Yes.
Do I have my y-intercept or my b?
Yes.
So I can write the equation of the line. My slope is 2. My b is negative 3. There's the equation of the line. Now that I have the equation of the line, now I can go back and find my x-intercept. Because again, your x-intercept is when y is 0. So instead of y, I'm just putting a 0. And then solve for x. Add 3 to both sides. So you get 3 equals 2x. Divide by 2. X equals 3 halves, which is the same thing as 1.5. And there you go, you're done. You have your slope, your x-intercept, your y-intercept, and the equation of the line. Does my x-intercept go into the equation of the line? Look at the equation of the line. Did I use my x-intercept in creating the equation of the line? No. The only thing that you use to create the equation of the line is the slope and the y-intercept. Keep that in mind. Some of you are going to get tricked. Alright, graph number 2. Just graph it. 2 minutes. Yes, that's the equation of the line. You're just plugging in your m and your b, your slope and your y-intercept. Alright, when you graph your line, Deja, where's Deja? What kind of line did you graph?
Horizontal.
Perfect. I'm so glad you guys aren't saying straight. Horizontal.
Horizontal.
Sure. What is the slope of a horizontal line, Kayla? Where's Kayla?
Is it Aaliyah?
Kalia?
Yeah.
Sure.
Say difference.
Wouldn't it be like 0, 1, 0, 1? Or like 1, 0? Or 0?
Or what?
Or 0? It's 0. I said that.
You said a lot of stuff and you used the word like a couple times. So it's definitely just 0. There's no likes, there's no questions about it. It's just 0. Slope of a horizontal line is 0, always and forever. The horizontal line 0. 0. Griffin. Where's Griffin? X-Intercept, Griffin. Okay, Griffin said the X-Intercept is 0. 0 is right here. Does my line go through 0?
Undefined.
It's not undefined.
Let me see the options again.
There isn't one, and there will never be one. Because that line will never cross the x-axis.
That's exactly what I did.
Ashley? Where's Ashley?
Which one?
Go who's closest to the ground.
It is spelled Ashleigh.
Ashley.
Ashley, you get the easy question. What is my y-intercept? There you go. Alright, Wayne, where's Wayne? Wayne, everything's up there ready for you, Wayne. What's the equation of my line?
Y equals X and then minus 5.
Wayne, I had lots of hope in you. And I still do.
Oh, and
What is my M?
0.
0. Okay. How many people have that written down?
I did not.
Yeah.
I did.
You do now. Which is still wrong because what is 0 times x?
0.
So it's just y equals -5. Every single horizontal line you will ever see, the equation of a horizontal line is y equals the y-intercept. That's it. Y equals the y-intercept. Now with that being said, if a horizontal line is y equals the y-intercept, what is the equation of a vertical line? So close. So close. A vertical line, will it ever touch the y-axis? Then why are you saying y equals? X equals the x-intercept. A vertical line is x equals the x-intercept. A horizontal line is y equals the y-intercept. Alright, you got 20 minutes to answer 4 questions. Hopefully you can answer 1 question in 5 minutes. We're going to go over it in 20 minutes. Sure. Mr. Como, how many subscribers you got?
Okay, show us how to find
You don't really care, do you?
No, I don't care.
Yes.
Alright, when you log into Khan Academy, your app, as soon as you click on the app, your homework
Can I check real fast?
is right there.
Can I check?
All chapters done with that.
It says assignments due in 7 days. When you click on it, it's going to say all of them. Now there's only one, but there's going to be more than that, probably today.
I can check mine. We can do it on our phone.
Listen, number 14.
They are very easy questions. What is the dashed green part of the figure below? Is that a line segment, array?
That is it.
Right. Is it?
Does that line go forever? In both directions, one direction, or does it start and stop?
Start and stop.
Which means it's a...
Hooray. A line segment.
I got 100 on that.
We did it?
Good work.
Okay, so you did that.
I did. For the Y.
Okay, so look one.
Negative 5x plus 5 negative 5.
Oh, I have it. Oh, I don't have it.
She got a droid in.
So Y equals 1 minus 5x.
This
Where do you
how do I get like next to your five?
guys last? I thought you put X because you found the X. I can now put the last one. Actually, I will be looking at
So you need to determine rise or run. So you're going to go from one point to the next. This is your rise, this is your run. Yeah, that was one. There's one more. But the line's going down. Any points would work. If you chose this one and that one, you would get bigger numbers, but it would be the same number divided by itself. So you would what?
So I can't say what I and then and you don't ever tell me that and then 3
Or you can use your graph.
Oh, so we never
So rise over run.
Okay, so we never talk about that.
But the line's going down.
No.
Open the door.
Wait,
How do I open it?
It's always rise over rise. You're trying to carry the right side.
Yeah. But it's like that.
Ladies, what are we doing by the window and not our words? I'm sorry, I got confused. Where's your word? So you're done? What you're telling me?
I mean, I am done, but you betrayed me.
Some of you not want to.
Where's your slope? You don't have slope. How do you have the equation but you don't have the slope? Because that right there is the slope of your equation. What's the slope? Done. Perfect.
Oh. So if I just want it.
So what's your slope? What's 1 divided by 1?
Wait. Okay,
Why is 1 divided by 8?
No, if my X and Y intercept.
One problem.
2 divided by 4 is 2 divided by 4.
Yes. 9 digits. So we got sidetracked, and now we're back on track.
With the X cross. No, but that's not the X line. That's the Y.
That's why I had you.
So like, yeah. So like even yeah, but it's just so weird. And there's no isolate. There's no my 90% of her body is covered in activities that would be like
Oh my god.
He caught my balloon.
That's why I found out it was lame.
I did it.
That's wrong.
it's like, I could click and this is all the way down. And,
Are you on this side?
You got 8 minutes.
yeah, because they were at the ball. It was more like, yeah, like a little, like, it was like a small and like I didn't like right the mist. Yeah. Because I felt like they were yeah, so why would I do that? That's my trust. It was so embarrassing. I didn't even want to I know it was so I just like all the it's just like always no, like me and Gio, we hear like the sound. Yeah, we hear it like that. Yeah, it was like you were like a cooking sound. I talking about y'all. You know what I'm talking about. I honestly don't, because I've never been in, like, I've never watched it. No, but George was like, I heard like clicks. You probably had some they're crazy. Give them F and give me an A. What? What do you mean? Okay.
Is this going up or down?
It's going down.
No, rate of change is always right at 2. That's why it's tries overrun. You always need something over something.
But this one we turned it into a
That's not the rate of change.
This one.
Right, it's still a fraction. Whole numbers are always over 1.
With number of 10, would it be that there's no
That's wrong. Yeah, I was like, this was really long. So they're going to change all this to 2, make it 2.
Well, you're almost done. There's nothing over there.
I can see what's big.
Your Y intercept.
How are you?
Any worksheet that's new today?
This one.
Do you have enough for me to take one?
Wait, did you go first? Wait,
I'll write that out right before 5.
Okay, cool.
Actually, I already got it. So here's the
What
notes
happens
for
if
next
there's no
time.
light?
I tried calling you this morning just to connect, but
So on the regular, it's a negative one.
also, because everyone's right now, you know what it is in college.
Well, we just got on and I signed the homework, so there's
So you let me know.
So is it white? This one? Everybody I've ever seen. Yeah, I know. She is the worst person in the world.
You don't divide fractions, you multiply by reciprocal.
Your X would be approximately.
Now that I'm here,
I was calling him for a good 10 minutes.
And I always
what size is that?
And they're ranting to me about me knowing.
So we got the and then
How do you do?
so you feel like you're
Oh, you forget. Where did you call him?
X-Intercepts.
It wasn't perfect.
Okay. So then that's like
We were sleeping at but I was able to be
right?
I was sitting at home. We already in front of line.
Alright, I can't really stress this enough, guys. Your worksheets are completion grades, which means, did you do it, yes or no? Why is it a completion grade? Because this is where you're supposed to mess up. This is where you're supposed to ask questions when you mess up. This is what you're supposed to fix after you ask your question, because this is what you're supposed to study from for your quiz and test. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I already showed you how your test questions are spread throughout this classroom. They're on the worksheet. They're on the warm-ups. They're in the notes. So let's go over this worksheet Number 3, make sure yours matches mine. If it doesn't, ask why.
Can you still put 1?
Where?
You know how you put y equals negative 5? If I put y equals negative 1, x plus
Yeah.
Yes. Number 4. Again, if something is way off and you don't know why, this is when your hand goes up and you ask why. Alright, the slope. Slope is rise over run. First of all, my line's going down, so it's negative. Then any 2 points, pick 2 points. I chose these 2 points, which means I went down 1 and over 2, which means my rise, my up and down is 1, and my left and right is 2. So it's 1 over 2, negative, because it's going down. Number 5. Five. And number 6. Alright, listen. Number 6. Number 6 is the key. Number 6 is the only one that you actually have to do any math on. Number 6, I am going to suggest that you always keep every number in this classroom as a fraction. Fractions are exact. We've already learned this year that the one thing we definitely have to be in this classroom is exact. As soon as you round the fraction, now this one, if I turn that fraction into decimal, it's just 1.5, you're good. But that stands for slope. Slope is rise over run. You always have to label it as a number over another number for it to be slope. Right here, when I find my X-intercept by plugging in a 0 for y, I cannot take this negative 8/3 and put it in the calculator and round, because I'm going to have a decimal. That's an irrational number. It's going forever. As soon as you round, it's no longer going forever. So what is the exact value? Negative 8/3, not the decimal. When you have a fraction and you want to get rid of it and move it to the other side, you cannot divide fractions. You multiply by the reciprocal. That's that whole keep, change, flip. The negative 4 is not moving. You're going to multiply and flip the fraction, so you're multiplying by 2/3. Questions? Again, this is your study guide now for the quiz that's coming up on 8:30. Everything. Alright, get your notes out.
Do we staple this in all days?
Staple it on the slopes notes. I am going to give you 5 minutes to copy these notes down, and then we're going to talk about them.
It's so blurry.
On page what?
Page 8.
What page do we write this?
That's on the same page.
This is on page 10.
He's just about there. You guys have a couple of minutes with this, and then I'm going to shift it up so you can see the rest, okay? Make sure you focus, because once I move it, it's gone. You guys have about 20 minutes more. Stay focused. I'm giving you guys 2 minutes on this. Then I have to shift it.
2 minutes. He said, oh.
5 total. There's more you have to copy.
What page is this on?
10.
That already number 3 was 9?
Yeah.
So it was behind that page?
1 more minute on this.
Hold it.
I got it.
Right.
Start wrapping it up on this section, guys. Griffin, don't worry, whatever you miss, then you'll get. I'm gonna see if I could shift it up just a little.
Yeah, everybody got to come.
Right there, right.
Awesome.
Is it the last day?
It is.
I can't see the thing because it said recording. Just hold it down. Just hold it down.
Where it says recording, you guys, just so you know, it says intersect to create. I think it's just picking up a signal.
What does the second one say? Intersect to create.
got all this copy?
It should be done soon.
What's the last one say?
This is the whole reason why we deal so much with slopes, the slope-intercept form of a line. Because of parallel and perpendicular aren't going anywhere. We're going to be using them all year long. They're not going to tell you if two lines are parallel or perpendicular. You're going to have to determine that on your own. One way we're going to use or do to determine whether they're parallel or perpendicular is by the slopes. Because they might not even give you a graph with the lines on them. They just might give you two equations and ask you questions about them. If the slopes, when you put the equations in slope-intercept form, if they're not solved for y, you need to solve those equations for y. That puts it in y equals mx plus b. Then your eyes are focused on the m and the m only. If your slopes are equal, your lines are parallel. That's why that property is starred. Parallel lines have identical slopes. They're equal. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Opposite meaning they have different signs. One's positive, one's negative. Reciprocal, you flip the fraction. That's not either or, that is an and. They're opposite signs and they're reciprocals. If that's true, then the two lines are perpendicular. This property right here is also starred because perpendicular lines give you a 90-degree angle. All year long, we're going to try and create 90-degree angles because it'll make our life easier. Perpendicular lines will give us that. So we're going to use slopes to prove that lines are perpendicular so that we can have a 90-degree angle. Then we're going to be able to answer the question. We're good with that? None of that should be new. I'm going to hand out the next worksheet. This is not due. This is not homework. I'm going to talk about the front side, the first page on the right or on the left. We're going to work on this next class. You do not have to do this for homework. You need to worry about signing into Khan Academy. And I'm going to post something again as I found. Did you create an account? You got to create an yes, this worksheet gets stapled on the perpendicular and parallel lines note. Alright, look at the front page, the one on the left. The directions say that you are going to graph it and you're going to determine whether they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Again, all you need is the equations of the line. The equation of the line, y equals mx plus b. Look at your m. I don't care about the y, I don't care about the x, I don't care about the b. Look at the m. For number 1, both of my m's are 3's. That means the lines are parallel. If the slopes are identical, the lines will be parallel. Number 2, what kind of line is this first one? Y equals -3 is going to give me what kind of line?
Parallel.
Y equals negative 3 is going to give me what kind of line?
Parallel.
Y equals negative 3 is going to give me what kind of line? Horizontal.
Horizontal.
Y equals just a number will always be a horizontal line. X equals is going to give me what kind of line? And a vertical and a horizontal line, are they parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Vertical and horizontal. Vertical and horizontal lines, are they parallel, perpendicular, or neither? You see your X and Y axes right here? Your X and Y axes are horizontal and vertical. Are they parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Do those two lines create a right angle?
No. Maybe.
Yes, they do.
They do. Are all of these squares, actually, that's your question. Are all of these squares?
Yes.
Aren't all squares, don't they all have 90-degree angles?
Yes.
Which means all the sides are perpendicular?
Yeah.
Every one of those squares are created by a horizontal and a vertical line. So every time you see a horizontal and a vertical line, you can guarantee that they are perpendicular. Look at number 3. Just the M's. For the first one, I have negative 2/5. For the second one, I have a positive 5/2. They do have opposite signs. Now look at the fractions. Have the fractions been flipped?
Yes.
Does that mean, what is that? They're reciprocal, so those two lines are perpendicular. Both must be true. Look at number 4. The reciprocal of 2 is 1/2. 2 over 1 flipped is 1/2. But they are not opposite signs. Therefore, they are not perpendicular. It's not one or the other. It has to be both. You have to be opposite signs and reciprocal to be perpendicular. So number 4 is going to be neither. They're not equal. The easiest one is parallel. If the numbers are equal, they're parallel. To be perpendicular, opposite signs flip the fraction. Both must be true. If both are not true, then it's neither. Again, we are going to work on this worksheet next class, so you do not have to worry about doing it at home. You need